The opioid epidemic is impacting everyone, every community, every state, and really almost every family.
It's the same thing everywhere you go, no matter which state you're in.
We have lost nearly a whole generation of people to this.
These aren't lepers, they're our neighbors.
It's an all hands on deck, it has to be. We're seeing overdose deaths that are just alarming.
Years ago, it was lock them up
and throw away the key. That's not working.
I'm always looking for resources.
Well, I think employment is important. That's not an easy thing to solve.
Transportation is a problem.
These offenders may get released to a rehab somewhere, but then they have that transportation issue, how they're going to get there or not.
What we try to do here too is try to educate the families how to deal with it.
Drug recovery courts are the light that shine the way for, I think, all courts.
We do make a tremendous impact when we provide effective treatment.
We are using the technology of telemedicine.
I don't think I can fix the drug problem, but I can fix people. And if we start fixing one person at a time, then we will start to make a dent in this.
To anyone who's addicted to opioids, yes, there's hope.
There is absolutely reason for hope.
I want to start by thanking all of our judges and sheriffs that have come out for your commitment to being here today. Knowing that no two rural communities are the same, we do think that in some cases there are things that are working in one place that might be able to work in another if people knew about them. So that's the purpose of a conversation like today. Judges and sheriffs are truly on the front lines of this crisis, and thank you for being here, and most importantly, thank you for the passion that you have for building strong and healthy rural communities around the country.
My job is to interface with law enforcement, make sure the United States Department of Justice knows what the issues are that you all face, and to make sure that our Department of Justice, that we're addressing those.
We have to come up with new ideas. And so what has been very heartening is to hear folks discuss things such as drug courts, recognizing how important mental health is in this treatment continuum. To the extent that we can have our leaders assist in helping bring more employment, especially to these rural areas, I can't begin to express how important that is.
I think it's exciting that the community members that aren't necessarily involved in the court system or in law enforcement are becoming just as interested in trying to address the whole issue as we are, who've been dealing with it for a long time. There are all these collateral ways that you're saving when you help 1, 2, 3 people at a time. And that's what we do and try to focus on. And so you have to take small victories with this, which is how I feel about it.
Just like in education, the smaller the classroom, the more intense the education is. And we've seen where our classrooms have gotten bigger, more pupils, and the teachers don't get to spend the time with them. Well, it's the same way with the people with addiction. The more it's time consuming, and the more numbers we can confine and more people that we can have to focus in on their problem and their addiction and give them the time and the focus and the guidance that they need, I think has a better return rate.
And then, of course, education. Education is extremely important. So what we want to do, at least in our county, is to educate those people that are younger and start in our elementary schools. So what we have done is we have hired a public information officer, and her full-time job, besides our Dyer officers, is education.
I had a lady several months ago come to me, had a great idea, and I asked her, I said, well, have you talked to this person? Well, no, I hadn't. Well, have you talked to this? No, I hadn't. Well, these are people that's doing the same thing that she was trying to do. You know, come together. Stop worrying about who's going to get credit for it. Because the overall thing is we're trying to get people help, and then everybody wins.
I have, as a criminal court judge, what everybody that loves or cares about an adult addict wishes they had, and that's control over their liberty. I can come as close to making someone do something as anyone can. No physician, no clinician has that. And so with that incredible power, I have an opportunity to do a whole lot of good. And when they see someone like a judge that is applauding them, affirming them for doing good, leading healthy lives, then it makes them motivated. They know it comes from a position of caring, compassion, and love. But I remind them often not to confuse my compassion with weakness.
We have a drug court program. We have about 15 participants in it, I think, give or take right now. That program, and watching those people coming from a point to where they're at rock bottom and then trying to work themselves back up to where they can actually function. And I mean, over the weeks, you can actually see the difference from the first day you meet them in court to when they're actually become not dependent on the drugs, and they're actually clean so that they can go to the next level and make something of themselves and get them back into the community.
The premise of West Virginia's adult drug court system is it's very accountability driven. It's on the offender to want to buy into the program for them to get better in lieu of spending their sentences in incarceration.
How's it working?
It's working really well, actually. Right now in West Virginia, one of my biggest jobs is to expand in the rest of our circuits. It has drastically saved the state of West Virginia over a couple $1 million based on data from last year. And we're trying to expand into other type of specialty courts, including DUI, DWI courts, mental health courts, veterans courts, because the needs in West Virginia are great.
In our area, the biggest problems are transportation and housing. So many folks don't have either a license or an automobile, so to be able to get to treatment is a horribly difficult thing. The public transit is almost non-existent. We have one in the county and it goes by different locations maybe twice a day. It really, you can't use it to hit appointments and to get effective treatment.
If you live in urban America, there's mass transit, or you could walk. There's people who live in my county who, in order for them to do something as simple as to come to the courthouse or to go to the doctor, they're going to have to walk. And we're not talking walking a couple of blocks, we're talking walking 5, 10, 15 miles. I've had people in my drug court, because I require them to be there on a daily basis, who have walked as much as 15 miles a day. That takes a lot. I mean, it's about 6 hours walking.
Transportation is constantly a problem. I was very encouraged that USDA actually has funding for vans, and so I know that's something that we will certainly be encouraging a lot of our courts and other nonprofits to apply for in order to get people to the services that they have. In Tennessee, we have created a curriculum so that every single judge, all the way down to our juvenile court level, our general sessions jurisdiction, all the way up to our Supreme Court, have now all been trained and provided a lot of educational opportunities regarding the opioid crisis.
You know, as a judge, you have so many of those uncomfortable moments. I had one this past weekend. They're uncomfortable moments in the sense that they're usually prefaced by the same type of remark. You don't remember me, do you? And you never know whether that's going to be a positive encounter or turn into a really bad encounter. But I have those moments all of the time with people, and almost invariably they're a good encounter. They are people who some years past went through a treatment program, which my court was involved in. They have been successful in maintaining their sobriety for many years. They are employed, they're doing well, they may have recovered their children. Things are going well for them years after their involvement in the criminal justice system.
It's probably the only rewarding thing I do as a judge. You know, most of the time I'm the bad guy. You know, I don't do adoptions or anything like that where, you know, I make people happy. The only, you know, thing that I do good is through drug court, I allow people to heal and allow them to, you know, have a second chance at life. See people, what they look like, how they acted when they first come in, as opposed when we have a graduation program once a year, see what they look like and how they change their lives at the end of the program. It's just makes you want to cry. Makes you feel like you're actually doing something rather than just throwing people in jail.
Me and my wife went through something similar, and we went through it with a family member, and it was 7 years that we struggled through it. And sometimes we thought we were doing the right thing. We were actually doing the wrong thing. We were actually helping this person succeed in their addiction when by the things that we were doing and we shouldn't have been doing. Don't be an enabler.
It's heart fulfilling whenever you see a defendant sit down in front of you and say, I'm tired. That means they're ready. They're ready to move forward with their recovery and try to have a life-changing experience. So that's heart fulfilling to see someone saying, I'm tired. The resources and the funding, obviously, that is very much a need. And of course, some of the guys that I've heard this morning, and we have the same challenges with all the above, is housing and transportation.
If you put focused resources and attention to the problem, you will then not eliminate the problem, but you will take it down to a manageable level. Right now, it's still not a manageable level. So we're finding that getting them clean, getting them sober, and then provide the wraparound services, we can do what I think we ought to be trying to do, and that's get that person out of having to be dependent upon ongoing healthcare services, direct healthcare services, and in many cases, costly healthcare services.
Law enforcement alone is not the best action. It takes education, it takes the community, it takes everybody. So we've learned that a long time ago, that law enforcement alone is not the solution. Now, does it mean that the sheriff is not for strict sentences? We are. We're for enforcement. But we need alternative sentencing at times that works for offenders, and it prevents them from coming back to jail, prevents another person in my community from being a victim, and it sends a parent or a father home to take care of their children.
We see hope every day. Just come to one of our recovery courts, and we have literally hundreds of people that are actively managing their addiction and being productive and living good, productive lives. So yes, there's hope. You know, from my professional perspective, it's the best thing I've ever done. I've been very fortunate to observe a lot of folks who that most of us would have given up on, but they've reclaimed their lives. It's just a wonderful thing to see that.